Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV, another live show, another undisputed show, full of heat, full of fire. I don't know. We contradicting ourselves. So we got fire, we got snow. Which one's going to win tonight? We shall see. But we got a first timer here with us, Jefferson from the 90s Mag YouTube channel, Newcastle United podcast. Welcome, Jefferson. How's it going, mate? I know we've been waiting to get you on for a minute, though. Don't forget to unmute yourself there, because I muted you there before when we started. But how's it going, Jefferson? All good, mate?
Oh man, it depends what you mean. Do you mean
Oh,
as a
wow.
fan or just in general? But
How's it
I'm
going?
good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to Christmas. We're getting festive out here. You
Of
know,
course, man. No doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt.
I don't
Mighty,
see any tree in the background.
well, he's got.
Wh- I'm
He's got.
I'm I'm saving it till
We
late.
gotta
I
get
need.
you
I want to
started.
get a bigger one. I want to get a bigger one.
There you go.
Good
He's
man.
waiting to he's waiting to celebrate until Eddie is out, man. He's waiting.
Till the
No,
next
but
win. I'll put it up for the next win we get.
there we go.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's
but
going up on Saturday then.
well,
Fingers
we
crossed.
hope. Let us hope, because if you're wrong, old man, it is over for you, man. I think we need to start worrying about you and your career in this channel, man, because you've been backing a man that certainly doesn't have your back, man. But actually, well, I've been saying Eddie Howe until the end of the season, and I'm sure Jefferson is going to get onto me for that, and we're going to have a conversation, of course. But we've talked about Eddie Howe a lot, actually. I want to get Ed Jefferson's point of view on Eddie Howe, because we haven't heard his point of view on this channel. But you can subscribe to 90s Mag's YouTube channel, and of course get him on there every week. So we're gonna get into that. But the main topic of the channel of this show tonight is leadership. Do we really have leaders on the pitch? Is Bruno doing what he's supposed to do as a captain of this team, as a new captain? Everybody else, you know, we tend to criticize the ones that don't perform good, which is right to do. Longstaff, he's not as good as Tonali, so he should never start over Tonali. And then you get into Byrne. He is somewhat of a decent defender, but he's certainly not pulling his end of the bargain, in my opinion. The last few matches, we tend to go that route a lot. Miguel Almiron, Murphy. However, what about J7? What about Gordon? What about Isak to a certain extent? What about, I don't think Tonali's been the best player for us this season, so I'm not going to go there. But there's other players that don't really get the heat from the fans that maybe they deserve. But we're going to get into Jefferson. Before we do that, though, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Become a member if you can. If you're already a member, you can gift memberships away to other people. You can super chat. Do all that on the right-hand side. Right there, hit the dollar sign. Follow the steps if you want to collaborate and help us out. But don't forget, hit the like button. Jefferson, what is your stance on Eddie Howe at the moment, man? What do you think?
He's gotta go. He's gotta go. I've been on about this since. Do you know when I personally? There's been two times where I thought he's had to go. All right. The first one was when we got smashed 3-1 at home to Forest. I've been wanting him out since then. That was. I remember throwing my phone across the room, thinking, "Nah, I can't be having this." That was embarrassing. But for me, just that realization that once we hadn't qualified for Europe, he hadn't he hadn't met his quota. That was the minimum quota for me. He's been on borrowed time, and I've been dealing with the cult, as I call it, the cult of how. I've been trying to deal with them online and people that give us feedback, because I don't know if people are related to Eddie. I don't know if he's a Freemason. You know what I mean? There's going to be
Yeah.
consequences if people criticize him, but people seem shook to just kind of say it's time for him to bounce. Um, I can't see any improvement. So basically, the first 18 months, as we know, we were rocking, we were flying. Last 18 months has been constant dips. Um, so I think it's time for him to go, Chris, and win. It's time for him to go. It's
Damn.
time
So
for him
you're
to go.
saying the last 18 months has been it. So
Well,
your criteria last season was Europe or bust. So you gave no cognizance at all to the fact that he had no new talent from the relegation squad to tackle a Champions League season with the worst injuries in club history. That doesn't matter to you, does it not?
So listen, I empathize that there were difficulties during the season. That's undoubted. Yeah.
Difficult.
But okay, and that's arguably putting it mildly. But you know, we've talked about this on 90s Mags, particularly those last 3 to 4 games win. He had it in his hands. Man United, he chose to play Dubravka. Nick Pope was back fit. That was the
Mm.
difference. Dubravka chucked us that game. We drew 1-1 against Everton, and I think we drew 1-1 against Brighton. And out of nowhere, Chelsea, who were an absolute mess, remember, going into those final 3-4 games, win. We had it in our hands.
We
In our
did.
hands,
Yep.
let it slip.
Which was outstanding in itself. The fact that we were anywhere near there under the circumstances which we found ourselves in at the time was absolutely astounding that we found ourselves there. And yes, you could argue we blew it. Can you blame Eddie for Paul Dummett deciding to WWF the Everton
Yeah, the
centre
Everton.
half that
That
Yeah,
was,
resulted
yeah.
that resulted in the 1-1? Can you
but
blame Eddie Howe for
what?
that?
But why did Dummett come in that game?
Why did Dummett come in?
Yeah.
Because Watman was injured and
No. He came in as a sub, if I'm not mistaken.
Final 5 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was
he
it
came in as a
injury
sub.
time or?
Yeah. So you see, somebody's making these decisions, and I understand that's why we bring up this show today about leadership. And leadership is, yeah, we know what it is. However, there are a lot of players that are not performing. Now, can we say that's due to Eddie Howe's tactics? Are the players tired? Are the players not convinced? Because if a player's not convinced, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to do. Simply, they're not going to do it right. And so the decision of making Bruno a captain, why would you? I criticized Ten Hag when he took Maguire's captaincy away, and I said he shooting himself in the foot for what? Nobody ever asked Maguire to be off the captaincy. They always made fun of him, especially rival fans, saying he was rubbish. I'm not going to argue that, but the fact that he was a captain on that team, and then he ended up using them later on in the season, so he shot himself in the foot on that instance. I think Eddie Howe looked for a problem where there was no problem there, and now because of how he is, because he's extremely loyal to players. He cannot bench Bruno whatsoever. And it doesn't matter if Bruno is suspended; he will still put him on the pitch and get points deducted. I mean, I'm going on an exaggeration, obviously, but that is an issue that he did it on himself. Mighty win.
that's not like you to go on exaggeration, Chris.
No, but the point is still maintained. You have no argument against that. That's why you went out against me. Come at me now, Jefferson. Do you agree with that? That he's made a decision that hasn't helped him either. Even the last
Yeah.
game.
Well,
Look at the
I
last
agree.
benches.
I agree. He's made
So
decisions.
why is it so hard for you to just acknowledge that is not he needs to own up, and he doesn't actually
Well,
on the press conference.
whereas Jefferson was saying his threshold, if you like, was last season and not qualifying for Europe. He hasn't got any of those excuses this season. So my threshold this season, which I've said from the outset, was if we're not within 3 points of Champions League after the Christmas fixtures, he's got to go, and that still stands.
But
Now,
why
by the way, what that means is effectively, if we don't beat Leicester and we don't beat Brentford, that's as good as gone for me.
Which is we're
Because
talking about
wasted time though, win?
with the 6 points that we'll get, bringing somebody in is not going to change anything there. So with the
Why
6
not?
points,
go on, Jefferson.
Don't most teams get the new manager bounce? What you find
They
is
do.
football is an education. It reminds me a bit of school. You've got a coach and you're having to learn off them. So if you're hearing the same things and you're doing the same drills all the time, who's going to inspire you? If you notice, the coaches that are right at the top, so if we talk about your Klopps, your Guardiolas, do you think they're doing the same tactics and the same drills all the time? It's not just their personality. And I feel with a lot of British managers, we've seen it with Gareth. I think Eddie falls into that category. He's a nice guy. Creating a nice environment and being a nice guy isn't enough. And I've played Saturday League, I've played Sunday League, and I've played nowhere near a professional level. But I'll tell you something, I've played 4-3-3 a few times and I hate it. If you're in one of those midfield three, you're doing so much extra running. You need more bodies in midfield. And none of us here have a UEFA A license, but it's very evident that the injuries, you talked about injuries last season. I think Eddie's responsible for that. You've got people like you when you're playing Dan Burn at left back, you've got Joe Linton and Willock doing extra running, chasing back for this slow slug. And if you do that over the course of 38 games, that's going to take its toll. So his lack of flexibility tactically hurt the players individually. You know, all of this sort of stuff could have been prevented. Could it be that he needs a better number two? Because maybe it's not just Eddie,
So,
maybe it's just that Tyndall's shit as well. Maybe we need
so
a better number two. Because if you look at Mourinho,
Mourinho.
Mourinho had Rui Faria. If you look at what's his name, Fergie, he had Carlos Queiroz, he had Rene Mullenstein. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
arguably Steve McLaren as a coach. So
Yeah.
maybe Jason Tyndall. Maybe he needs help. Maybe he needs an assistant manager.
Well, but there we go. Then that's well, by the way, Steve McLaren, Wagwang man, every team balance, because you know he's got the Jamaican accent going. He's got
hang on,
the Jamaican accent. No, but he's making good sense though, because Mourinho.
I've listened to what
Hold on,
listened to what he's had to say.
But I know, but hold on. I'm just gonna double down on what he said, because I don't know if he brought up Mourinho for a specific reason, but Mourinho actually said, when I choose an assistant manager, I want an assistant manager that will tell me no, not a yes man. He said that before. You know, I want an assistant manager that will fight me for making his case. I don't know that Mad Dog. All we know is that they're best friends, and that he gets mad at everybody else, other than maybe being mad at the man making the decisions, which is Eddie Howe. Or maybe he's too influential to Eddie, that he's maybe behind a lot of these decisions, hence getting Osula, which now he gets Osula, is part of the team. He doesn't even get a damn minute. So go on, respond, Mighty Wayne.
Right, okay. So I didn't hear anybody at all complaining about the 4-3-3 high press system that we were using for the first 18 months he was here, when we were winning everything in sight,
Yeah.
and it was all going swimmingly. So
But
I didn't hear anybody complaining about it then. I bet you weren't complaining about it then. I bet you were loving it.
That's a poor response, though, by the way. That's a poor
But
response.
did it take its toll, Win?
Every
Time Joe Linton and Willock are chasing back after Burn, did it take its toll? What happened to Joe Linton last season? 4 months out.
This is the Dan Burn that was part of the meanest defence in the Premier League. At left back, Trippier, Shea, Botman, Burn, toughest defence in the Premier League, statistically proven, best defence, no question.
Based on games you're talking about.
So you do realise the key factors, because the patterns of play were very simple: attack down the right hand side, Almiron and Trippier, and defend down the left hand side, Willock and Joe Linton. Those two in tandem is what made it successful. It was an overall team effort. Don't get me wrong, I thought Burn in that first season did well, because in possession we would shift to a back three. It worked for a period, but after a while you have to adapt.
Okay, well, that's the first point. There was nobody complaining about high press, 4-3. What everybody's complaining about now is that the energy's gone, the will to press.
The thrill is gone, Mighty Wayne. The thrill is gone, baby. Once the thrill is gone, it's over.
2020 hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, but no, it's not. It's not 2020 hindsight.
I've got the conch now.
It's not the 20. Hold on, but it's not 2020 hindsight. It's what's happening now. Go on.
We thank him, right? We love him.
So the second thing you said, Jefferson, was that his coaching methods are getting stayed, and that the players are bored with him, or whatever. Did you watch him on High Performance by any chance?
What the hell that is?
It was the podcast that he did.
I don't watch podcasts, man. I want my manager to do it on the pitch,
where he was explaining how the coach, the coaching drills that he had at Bournemouth, hundreds of them. He put them all. He spent days and days and days putting them all onto. He didn't use a computer at the time, but he says he does now, onto cards, which he would then deliberately take different cards into that session so that they didn't do the same drills all the time, so that they didn't get bored. And if you talk to any of the players, and you can argue that they would say that, wouldn't they? But all of the players tell you, you know, how it's not a chore to go into training with Eddie because they're doing such, you know, different things all the time.
Yeah,
So I
but
don't buy the fact that they're
hold
bored
on.
with his routines because
We
I
don't
don't for
we don't
one
know that
second.
though. We don't know that.
No,
We
we
don't know
don't
that.
know that.
Exactly. We don't know that they're bored. You can tell what's happening on the pitch. All of them are not
Well,
performing.
okay, so
All
you're
of them.
They look
surmising they're bored and I'm
uninspired.
surmising they're not.
Because of their performance on the pitch.
So,
Have
so
you
look,
seen? Go on, Jeff.
I was just gonna say, right? Look at the levels that the team were at when Steve Bruce was there, right? So arguably anybody that comes in is gonna raise those levels, and of course Eddie did that. But unfortunately, he's reached a plateau. He's what you would call an underdog manager, right? He's very suited to a lower team or a mid-table team, and he can get the best out of them. Look what he did for Joe Linton, he did for Kraft, etc. As soon as you start getting into elite competition, as soon as you start getting elite players, he's out of his depth. And every manager has levels. So I've referenced, for example, Brendan Rodgers before. And I think Brendan Rodgers is a very highly technical coach. You see the patterns of play. You saw Leicester in full flow, but even he reached his level, right? When he got found out against better managers. If you compare Eddie against when we played Terzic, right? Against Dortmund, it was men and boys stuff. He doesn't know how to adapt during the game. He doesn't know how to adapt during the game. So even Mourinho, I remember when he was struggling at Man United, at least he had a plan B. Who was the plan B? Bring on Fellaini and launch it long, right? What is Eddie's plan B? Because all we've got is this high press intensity, which we can't even do right. We're putting crosses in the box when nobody's there. We're afraid to thread it through. I mean, we were clapping Bruno for doing that against Liverpool. What instructions are they giving the players? Because we're starting to see the cracks appear where we've arguably got someone who their biggest accolade was winning the championship. Do you know what I mean? You're talking about an extensive playbook. Win. I'm not seeing it. When we watch him on a Saturday or a Sunday, I'm not seeing it, buddy. Do you know what I mean?
Here's a surprise for Chris.
Go on, man.
Well, we're coming.
I don't need to. I don't need to see any share screen. I don't need to see none of that.
Bournemouth channel. Back of the
Yeah,
net.
of course they love him. Of
No,
course
no,
they
wait a
want him.
minute. Hang
Hold
on,
on. No.
man.
Don't have
you
other
know,
people do your debates. Don't have
you-
other people
you-
do your debates. Speak for
they're doing
yourself.
your debate.
No, speak for yourself because we've had Bournemouth fans come on here and the one we spoke to love him, love him.
Wait and see what
That
they're
one.
saying now.
Okay, well then play it, whatever. How long is it though? We're not gonna be
Can you
sitting
hear
here
it?
for. Nah, I can't hear it. I cannot hear it.
I can't hear it.
Yeah. What are they saying? Simple. What are they saying?
Can you hear it?
No, we can't hear it, man.
No, not
You're
yet.
not sharing. You're not sharing audio. Regardless, though, we're wasting time.
Where do I
Anyway,
do that?
just say what it is, man. Stop. Say it. Say it. What are they saying?
They're just about crying in their beer, saying that they have to admit that Iriola is a better coach than Eddie Howe.
Okay, so did you just want to?
It's breaking their hearts.
Did you just want to say lose the debate already?
And the
Look, man.
the debate will be won and lost on the pitch.
You cannot. This is the thing, man. First of all,
I like that though. Wait,
what?
Chris, did you hear what Win said? You see the M bit. You talked about hearts, right?
Yeah.
That's what the fan base need to realize. We like Eddie as a person. The longer he's there, he's ruining his legacy. He's ruining all the hard work he's done. The longer he's stinking out the joint. It's not like saying we want Eddie out doesn't mean we don't like him as a person. He's been
Exactly.
a lovable person. He's done a great job
Which
with
I'm not saying
individual
Eddie Howe either,
players.
which is crazy.
He's been a fundamental part of our journey, but the end of his time has reached. So I like what you've talked about. He's in fans' hearts, but I would have loved to have known Bournemouth fans' opinions when he got them relegated.
Mm.
I'm sure there was some of them that wanted him out as well, but it doesn't mean
No.
that they don't love the guy. We've all got love for Eddie, but it's time for him to
Look,
bounce.
that's why I don't think bringing
No,
in
I
Bournemouth.
can assure you there was no Bournemouth fans wanted
I
Ripper
can
when they
assure
got
you, yes.
relegated.
Every time you get relegated, a lot of people will want that manager sacked, man. Come on, man, you cannot. Just don't get it, man. Look, this is the thing. That's why I like Bournemouth fans. Whatever. I like cherries too. I got a cherry tree outside actually. It's good, but it's irrelevant. Bournemouth is not Newcastle. Okay, being successful at Bournemouth is not being successful at Newcastle. So it's not the same. Standards are different. Standards are different. And even if you have won the Champions League for Bournemouth, that doesn't translate to this, to today, which I still think he needs time. And because I look at it from another perspective. That's why I'm not saying Eddie Howe out. But
Be careful what
Why,
you wish for.
I'm
Chris?
not. I'm
Why,
not.
Chris? Chris? Chris?
I told you.
How
I
much
said.
more? How much more do you need to see, brother? How much more do
Well,
you need to see?
I'm already getting there. I'm
It's
already
a
getting there.
horror
The problem
show
is, I
every
Four
don't think
week.
more
that
games.
I don't think
Four
that we're
more
gonna.
games.
I don't think that we are.
Four more games. 4 more games. 4 more games.
I don't think that we need to. I don't think that we need to rush because to get a manager that is not elite levels or close to that. We need to be careful because the reason why people say be careful what you wish for, and they saying it now because of Bobby Robson when he got sacked. We got Mike Ashley after that. People don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? And that alone just dipped us to hell. So that's why people say that. But it's not if anybody would have run the club properly, who knows? We probably would have never been saying those phrases that Mighty Wayne likes to say, be careful what you wish for type of crap. But we didn't. We were run rubbish. So but now I don't know if there's a clear cut candidate that's free that able to come on now. Because if you tell me, yeah, just get the Bournemouth manager, just get to that, anybody will do a better job. No, because there will be another Eddie Howe. There will be just another Eddie Howe, another promise that you think that they might do good, and comes on, and players look at him. So now they're looking at the Bournemouth player, Bournemouth
So,
manager.
hang on.
How?
What's your criteria for the type of manager we're going to get?
Somebody that's won tournaments, that's a
That's won
consistent
what?
tournaments. Tournaments. It could be Serie A. It could be the Bundesliga. It could be a Champions League. Hopefully a Euro Cup or not the Euro Cup. Well, it could be a Euro Cup, the international one, but no the.
Could it be the Belgian league? Could
Well,
it be
no,
the
that's
French
not
league?
that no, that's not no. That's not
Could it
elite.
be the
That's not
Dutch league?
those not. I'm clear. I'm being very transparent with what I'm talking about. I'm
So
not
it
talking about the
couldn't.
Belgium
So
league.
it couldn't. So you wouldn't have hired Arnie Slot at Liverpool then
Probably not. No,
to replace Klopp.
probably
That was a
not.
high risk. That
That's
was
a high
deemed a high
risk,
risk.
man.
Yeah.
That's a high risk. You only look at the one sample. It's a
Tell
high
you what,
risk.
it's
It's
resulted in
working.
high rewards, hasn't it?
Yeah, but that's how many of those do you find? Look at Ten Hag. There you
But
go. We're
but
tied 1-1.
but for me, there's two. So there's a couple of things we know about FFP.
Well, by the
So
way, before you go, I'm sorry to cut you off. You did me dirty there, Mighty Wayne. I think the Netherlands, although it's not in the league, I think it's close to the Premier League than the Belgium or the league, all the other leagues. So it's a bit unfair because
Farmers
Ajax
League
and
one. That's 3 clubs.
no. Go on, Jefferson. Sorry.
I was just going to say, because of FFP, what we've got to remember is we can't do what Man United did. So I think Man United paid money to pay off Ten Hag, and then they paid money to get Amorim in. So combined, I think they paid like 25 million just to have that transition of old manager to new manager. So we need to look at the free agents, right, based on FFP. So it has to be Sergio Conceição, who has won trophies with Porto, has managed in the Champions League. So he's got pedigree there. Similar to Amorim, he's a proven winner in his country. He's managed at a high level. Or you go for Edin Terzic, who, number one, he outfought Eddie in the 2 games that we played.
And
Right?
Eddie messed up.
Eddie didn't have a response to those tactics, but he's used to the model of Dortmund bringing through young players. And we've got that with Paul Mitchell as director of football. So, firstly, we need a European manager who's used to the sporting director and director of football model. And I didn't like Eddie's response in Simon Jordan's interview. He said, I'm working with Paul Mitchell. No, mate. The head coach's boss is the director of football. You report to the director of football. And that's why we had so many issues in the summer because he let his
but
pride get in the way,
let's be fair.
in my
No,
opinion.
But
no.
let's be fair. If no, I agree with
He was
you.
appointed before Paul Mitchell.
It
So
doesn't matter.
But,
what
but we changed the model,
what
Win.
you
We
no
Based
no
on
changed
what
the model.
you
based on
say is
positions.
correct. If it weren't for the if it were the
No, it has
fact
nothing to do with
that
that.
Paul Mitchell
No,
appointed Eddie,
it has nothing to do
fine.
with that. It has
That
nothing to
was
do with
not,
that.
that wasn't Eddie's
No, not at all. Because
brief when he got the job. Dan Ashworth wasn't there. Paul
hold
Mitchell
on.
wasn't there.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
just the way.
the
That's
manager.
just the way they got hired because then Ashworth left. However, it doesn't work like that because Eddie Howe is not doing what he wants. They're butting heads, and they're probably the reason why we didn't get any signings is because Paul Mitchell is saying, "No, mate, we're going to do this way. We're rubbish. Our recruiting isn't
No,
good."
I'm not
And Eddie
disputing
Howe
that there's
and
big
Eddie
trouble
Howe.
behind the scenes. That's
So
why we're in the state we're in.
because Paul Mitchell is saying, "I'm here. This is my job now. I'm going to do my job," and Eddie Howe is probably not wanting to give in. So, I technically yes, it is. The DOF is above the manager, and I believe now that's the issue that we're seeing between the two. And but I disagree with it works 90% of the time because the 10% of the time, Jefferson, because if you get Pep Guardiola here, ain't nobody gonna tell him nothing. If you bring in, I don't know, maybe Allegri, he's got some pedigree. If you bring in Ancelotti, nobody telling them nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So some managers, most managers, you can do that, but some you can't, and rightly so because they earn it, right? They earn their stripes with those managers. Eddie Howe hasn't yet. He has not earned stripes to say, "I'm going to do this. Give me the keys to the club, and I'm going to do it this way. We're going to win."
So what are you going to do if Paul Mitchell decides, in his wisdom, that I don't know some obscure La Liga manager who hasn't won anything is the guy for the job because he's doing a cracking job where he is?
Hold on.
What you gonna do if Paul
What
Mitchell decides
what's
that?
obscure? What La Liga manager are you talking about? Give me names. Don't give me anything
I
like
don't
that.
know.
Give me
It's
names.
not my job to scout
Yeah, but
potential coaches for Newcastle.
so what? Because if you tell me
Well,
Ancelotti,
if you're saying
if you
the
tell me,
only coach that Mitchell should be looking at is a proven
yeah,
big club winner,
exactly. What do you? Who do you want? You want a new coach? You want somebody just woke up and said, "I want
I
to be a
just think
manager"?
he's going to win games like Eddie.
And how the hell do you know that? See, you come in with with these empty phrases, man. How do you know that you just bring anybody in? But no, you have to bring in a proven winner because your chances of winning something are higher. Terzic and a lot of these guys that we name. I can bring you clear names. Ancelotti, a no-brainer. Let him come here, give him the keys to the club. Plain and simple. But if you talk about any
Didn't work
lower
for
team,
Chelsea. It hasn't worked for Tottenham.
and so you just erase everything else in his career. Are you mad, man?
What
How
I'm
can you?
saying is, bringing in a proven coach does not guarantee you're going to get results.
Nothing guarantees nothing, man. But
We,
you still sure. Go on, Jefferson.
I'll just say, look at Bournemouth. Look at Bournemouth, right? Now, when Gary O'Neill got sacked, everybody thought it was harsh because he did a good job in keeping them up. He had bloody, who is it, Kiefer Moore up front, right?
Yeah.
Difficult job, right? But he did a good job. I can't remember where they finished. Now, they brought in Iraola, who wasn't very well known. He
Yeah,
managed Rayo Vallecano, who are known to be basically like a bottom six team.
yeah, like a
And
Bournemouth.
he managed to beat Barcelona and stuff like that. He was really tactically astute, and I think Rayo Vallecano had like their highest finish in God knows how many years. I think they finished mid-table, and Bournemouth managed to get this guy. Have you noticed how their football's improved, and they've been able to attract a different class of player? Because at the moment, I've said this so many times, Eddie's style of football is not sustainable long term. We cannot have
Well,
people running up and down like
to
that. We're just going to get injured,
to be fair with
right?
that though, I mean the 4-3-3 was copied by many teams in elite football. Barcelona, Chelsea used to do that. Real Madrid still does that actually. So it's about doing it right and not being the only thing you do, or attacking it in different ways. You know what I mean? We are too predictable. We only know one way to do it. Just give it to the wingers and go. And so it's more to it. To be fair, the 4-3-3 ruled in the 2010s era. So
Till
but actually,
Pep came along.
till what? Till Pep.
Till Pep came along.
Pep was 4-3-3 as well for a long time, and even if you look at it now,
Yeah.
really it's 4-3-3. So, well, now the last 2-3 years have changed actually. But that's the thing; they change. Eddie Howe doesn't do that. Doesn't do that, and that is the problem. And yeah, I think we need to get an elite manager or somebody that's proven to win, and not just. So in that case, any manager, your logic behind that, might win is appalling, man. You just get anybody that will
According to
win.
you.
You bring anybody that will win your games. Oh my God, what the heck? How do you know that? How do you do that? By getting somebody that's won a lot, a proven winner. Somebody will tell you who. Somebody that can pick up the phone to any player in the world and say, "Mate, come over here." You think Eddie Howe can call anybody and tell them come over here? No, I guarantee
No,
you. I
'cause we
keep saying
can't afford them.
I can't. It doesn't matter because you can also help that player make the adjustment. Say, okay, let me go to Newcastle. What? How much are Because players
You,
can help out in negotiations.
you're just
No, no, no.
assuming. You're just
Assuming what? What am I assuming?
You're assuming that we can go to any coach in the world who's
I know.
won
I'm not
all
saying
these,
that.
who's
I'm
won
not
all
saying that.
these trophies,
I'm not saying that. I'm
and
saying you're
say,
gonna have to. But
"Come here."
that's why you're gonna have to. That's why you need time. That's why I think if you suck somebody now, or Eddie now, you're out of time because you got to find somebody. Unless you just say I want to have an interim coach to do it, we'll write
So
the
you're
season
saying
off.
you would have Terzic.
I think Terzic is. See, there you go. I think Terzic would be a gamble, but a gamble that has proven that
And
he's gotten
do you
there.
think do
He's
you
won
think
a major
Terzic
trophy
do
in
you think
Europe.
Terzic could pick up the phone to any player in the world and say, "Come over here"?
More than Eddie.
Shut up.
You don't you don't believe that?
No, I don't believe that for 1 second.
And I'm not saying that no. Ancelotti
It's
would.
to do with the club, not the man. I mean, the manager
Ancelotti
can
would.
have an influence, obviously.
Ancelotti would. Allegri would. They give me all these. Mourinho would. What are you talking about?
I'll
Terz-
give you Mourinho and
Terzic is a
Ancelotti.
young name. Terzic is a young name. However, he's proven he's won already a major title. Man, Borussia Dortmund hadn't won anything other than the Bundesliga once or twice in the last 20 years, man. You see what I'm saying? But they got an international title, beating us. By the way, he just remember that match right there against Bournemouth. And I'm sorry, Dortmund away. Eddie Howe did the same
I
thing he
was
did
there.
against. Eddie Howe did the same thing that he did against Brentford. He substituted Almiron. He took off Gordon. He took off the best wingers that we had at the time. Right. He took off the best players, and then in the second half we were losing. He brought them on to fix the game. He made the same mistake, and he hasn't learned in over a year, man. And to your point, though, Jefferson, I know you like Sergio Collins out. I didn't agree with Manchester United getting Amorim. I don't, and so I'm not gonna sign off on Conceição. So I think the Portuguese is a little different though. To me, it's kind of like the Dutch league, to be fair. But I think there could be more candidates, but you gotta give time. Mighty Wayne, you're not good, man. You just lost the battle to a debutante. You need a wobble, man. You
I
need
think our biggest problem is just the FFP, because if we're willing to get someone out of their contract, that's going to come out of the funds.
that's gonna be
So
the issue.
if we're willing to do that, that's fine. But if we're looking for a fix that we need now, we need to go for a free agent. And by the way, it's going to be competitive really soon, because Julian Lopetegui might be getting sacked. Ange Postecoglou might be getting sacked, and also Gary O'Neill might be getting sacked. And if we don't make a decision quickly, by the time we try and get one of those free agents, one of those other teams will pick him up. And then what will happen is, let's just say we go for a Jose, and I don't know how much his contract is at Fenerbahce, but let's just say we have to pay 10 million quid. It will be us moaning in the summer, because we paid for Jose, we can't spend as much. So this is what I'm saying. We need to be resourceful and strategic planning,
Hmm.
but be quick. And there's no room for sentiment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with
So
that 100%.
Dortmund game that you're on about. What was the lineup that day?
The away game I'm talking about, not the home game.
So, man,
Yeah. What was the lineup?
We had Wilson up
Okay,
front because Isaac was injured.
so that's a
We had
sub.
Livramento on the right wing.
That's exactly. So Almiron
Longstaff,
was
Bruno, and Willock in the middle.
yeah,
Trippier, Lascelles
yeah.
at centre back with Shea left centre back and Lewis Hall as a inexperienced Ben. So I had Livramento and Hall
A rubbish lineup.
because we didn't have any players available.
Gordon was available. Almiron was available. They were the best wingers in our squad at the time. He took them off.
Almiron was going through a shit period.
No, man. He was playing every week.
Yes, he was. Yes,
he was playing every week, man. He was playing every week. Stop lying.
And Gordon hadn't reached the heights that he reached last season. And then Miley came on for Willock.
He made a mistake. I know during the match he made a mistake and then put them back on because they had been starting pretty much the whole season. And then he put those.
That was our squad then.
So he did the Brentford. He did the Brentford, and it went wrong, just like it did against Brentford. When you don't put in the best players, that's the problem. Now,
we have the best players.
Fuck me, man. Okay, I guess Gordon wasn't our best player, even though that's what you used to give him all the money in the world this season, so he can be the highest paid player, and he hasn't been playing like he's been playing rubbish all season. Then again, it leads me to my point. What about the players? Like I said, Gordon is playing rubbish. J7 has been so inconsistent this season. Last match against Brentford, shocking. Bruno is not Bruno. Bruno's not Bruno. It's not the Bruno that we thought he could be. Maybe he's not the man that we thought he can be. Because instead of looking at it from an objective eye, fans, as long as they do this, they kiss their shirt, fans love that. Fans, they just put their blinder on their eyes, like the mighty wind does, and just falls for whatever they do, instead of analyzing what's happening on the pitch. Bruno Guimaraes is a shocker this season. What's happening to those players? Burn to me, well, I mean, he's kind of been somewhat the same, really. Shar is shocking from last season what he could be. You know what I'm saying?
Up and down.
So who is it really? The player?
There's no consistency.
But why?
They're too comfortable. There's no competition in the squad, and I think it's very evident. Not going back to the manager too much, but I think there's a leadership group. There's a clique, and I think people feel safe that they're going to start almost every game. That's a problem. If you don't have enough competition in a first 11, let alone a squad, that's a problem. And even if you're not going to select players from the wider squad, where are the youth? We saw Sanusi have a good pre-season. In the time that Gordon was off form, why hasn't Sanusi got to go? Because he looked pretty good. Where's Harrison? We got him from Man City. There was all this hype that we had one of their best academy kids. You know, where is he? Because when you look at Liverpool, do you remember Liverpool last season? They had so many injuries, and yet that's how we found out about players like Doak, Bradley, Quansah, because the manager just wasn't afraid to chuck him in. Whereas I've noticed with Eddie, there's a certain amount of caution to either drop certain players or swap them out. But if they're not doing it, what better way to show them than blooding the academy players through who will give you 110%? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, leading by example, because they've got nothing to prove and nothing to lose. So I think certain players have got way too comfortable, man. Way too comfortable. They know that they're going to start every week.
All I would say about that is, if you know your job's on the line, and trust me, Eddie will know his job is on the line, are you going to gamble on youngsters, or are you going to stick with what you know?
But are you going to gamble on players that are not giving a shit? Because that's plain and simple. Well, it's two ways of looking at it. Am I going to gamble? Why is he gambling on J7 literally not being in the match?
The bet that he places will be.
Yeah, I know that, but we got to do a show today.
Result
man,
in what
I'm sure we'll do a show at the time, but we got to do a show now. So, what I mean, what do you think about the players? Come on, man. All you do is the defensive rubbish, but give Burn an 8. What sense does that make? How can you give the defense somebody in the defense an 8 when all of them were rubbish.
Byrne was the best player on the pitch.
Man,
He can't help it. The rest were letting him down.
no. Oh my God,
You know, I went through it yet again.
that sounds like fanatism, man.
You know, well, I'm sorry, it's not. You wouldn't put the clip up yesterday when everybody was condemning him for their first goal. I put the still up showing you what Byrne was doing, but you didn't show that. I noticed.
Well, that's fine because he was still in the play. What happened?
No,
what happened?
he was covering Wissa, who was running in, who would have taken a
He
simple
was in
ball.
front of Wizza. He was in front of Wizza. Him and
backed
Shar didn't go for it. They backed off. He got a shot off. And it scored so easy, man.
No, and Mbeumo got a shot off because
He also didn't get a shot off. They scored twice.
If Byrne comes to tackle Mbeumo, he's leaving Wissa completely free for a 3-yard pass and tap in.
What about on the Wizza goal?
We know they can shoot. And Vissa scored against us in the final day of last season. So we know he's got a shot on him. So why are we backing off? Even take a yellow for the team. Just like you call him, Chris, a thug, right? Just get in there, man.
Thug, man. We need a thug.
Get in there.
Let me tell you this. One thing that Byrne has is he's got one of the characteristics of center backs that we need. We need a center back that is ugly. So he's got that knocked down. We need a center back that has one less finger. He got that knocked down. He doesn't have one finger. His breath needs to stink. He needs to stink. He needs to be a thug. He needs to be a thug. He needs to be damn near a criminal for him to be for us center backs. Somebody that will knock anybody down. And unfortunately, he doesn't have all those the rest of those. So he needs to stink. Breath needs to stink. Can't brush his teeth. He's got to be ugly.
So that, you've just perfectly described Virgil, have you?
Exactly. Virgil van Dijk.
I'll let him know.
Virgil van Dijk is what we need. We don't need a Shar that all he does is throw balls up front because we already been found out. All he does is throw balls up front to nobody, and nobody's there to tell him, Shar, you are a defender, mate. Stop doing that. Worry about what was happening back here. Nobody tells him that. You know what I'm saying? And that is the problem. Now, football's changed. Maybe your DM doesn't, because I was going to say the same thing. A DM needs to be a thug as well. But with football's changed, you got to know a little more. You got to know a little more technical. Got to know football. So Tonali needs to be there, but he doesn't play every time. You know what I'm saying? And that is the problem, man. I'm telling you.
Tonali does need to play every time.
Exactly, but he doesn't. So you tell me. He doesn't play every time. I can tell you this though. Isak's had kind of enough on and off season. He certainly should have not missed that shot, that opportunity.
Different game altogether if he puts that away.
He should have just done it. No, we don't know that because they scored afterwards time and time again. So and that we don't know that. But he certainly should be criticized for that heavily. Where the hell? Where's your head at, man? Like, what are you doing? You did everything perfect.
He did
it against Chelsea, didn't he? And you know, but he can also say this whole season he's been lack of service. He's lacked of service, and I would agree with that. What about Gordon? You're the highest paid player in the team, man. What the hell is the matter with you? I just don't understand why they can't get their heads out of their ass and play properly. Gordon non-existent when he came on against Brentford. Also, he should have some more consistency starting. Gordon wants to play, man. Tonali wants to play, and that is the problem as well. When Tonali wants to play and he wants consistency, the manager takes him off.
Tonali was captain at AC Milan as well. People forget that.
Exactly. At a young age. Helped them get to the semifinals. You know what I mean? Plays for Italy every time. He is their best midfielder. How can you give that away?
This is one of the things that I can't. You know, like I say, it's becoming more and more difficult to defend Eddie for reasons like that.
Because we're gonna get.
How come Tonali can play 2 straight games for Italy in 4 days, and he can't play 2 games for Newcastle in 4 days?
Hey, look, we're gonna. I'll tell you what. Let's get into the comments.
Having said that, There we go. Stevie's in there.
Chris,
The
Tonali
guy-
severely
or
had
whatever.
cramp on 88 minutes against Liverpool. You can't expect him
Probably
to
because
risk
he's
an
not
injury
getting enough
after 3
football.
days. Later against Brentford after being out of good. Mate, against people act as if a cramp is going to last 4 or 5 days. It's right there in the moment. Give him a banana and you're done. Damn, bro.
Get that blood
If
sugar going.
only things were that
We
simple.
we
eh?
gotta stop treating these players as if they are Princess Diana, man. I tell you, man, you got not even Princess Diana got treated this good.
They're soft.
Paparazzi's all over the place. You gotta stop being soft, man. And a lot of these players have the capability, you see it on the pitch, to be leaders, but they don't be. Then you don't let them. Give them a damn banana, some potassium, rub it a little bit. Who knows? Maybe he was killing time against Liverpool. Who knows? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying it. We need to let these players go and do their thing. Let's go to the comments though, because a lot of people are chatting away, and we are. We got into. Listen, man. The Undisputed Show on Tuesdays is hot. It's hot. If you thought the Monday's hot, no, this is hot. This is Hell's Kitchen. So I'm telling you. Kieran Wood said, "Heard the 70 million offered by Gihey wasn't the actual figure it offered. That he had just been inflated would make sense considering the recent news of us needing to sell before we can buy. Well, that's another discussion, whether we have money or not, which I don't understand why we don't. Because we didn't buy anybody other than the Sula, and we sold Anderson and Minte for PSR, and we were great. We passed the test, and we didn't buy anybody else. So that's a mystery in his own. Beer Viking Murphy is a meme, so fans give him a pass. Well, you have to argue whether Murphy is our best right wing at the time. Maybe he is. Maybe that doesn't suffice, but maybe he is the best right wing that we can have because obviously Harvey Barnes hasn't been doing great on that end. Gordon had one decent game against Arsenal, and then that's it. Who else do you got to put somebody there according to these to this lineup, to this formation? McQueen Wade, shout out to Martin. He's saying sorry to jump in. Wanted to know what you're hearing up there regarding Bruno in January. Well, we heard something. We'll do a video in the next few days or so about it. Dig some information up, and probably react to some of what you guys have been doing. Of saying, Craig Hope has also said it. Look, I don't know. I don't think he's played good enough to be wanted by top teams. Maybe Guardiola is just living in the past last season. Maybe that would convince him. Maybe so. But for 60 to 80 million, and is Newcastle United going to sell him for 60 to 80 million? Is that enough? Would you guys sell him for 60 to 80 million? Whatever.
No, not a chance. I'd sell him for 100. Though.
Maybe add-on with maybe like 70 plus add-ons or 70 plus a player because we're desperate for a player. So say if they gave us
70 plus Foden.
If they gave us Kovacic or something, I'll take it. 70 million plus Kovacic.
Oh, I'll take that. I think we're gonna have to pay though. If we get Kovacic, we're gonna have to pay some extra after give him a rise because Kovacic is good, bro. Kovacic is good, improving. Played at Real Madrid, great. They're sorry they let him go. Come over here in Man City, played great. Went to Chelsea, played great amongst numpties. Came back to City. Mighty win. That's what you're supposed to need, man. Wake up, bro.
There's beer. See,
I love it, Chris. Bringing that heat.
We were screwed in that Dortmund game. Ball didn't go out for a throw. Will have kept it in. Should have been a corner to us. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't really know because I was at the game, but I had a drink or two, so I can't remember the details. And when I got back home to rewatch it, it hadn't recorded, and I couldn't get it on catch up anywhere, and so I didn't have it. All I've got's the highlights from NUFC.
Yeah.
But
which,
yeah,
by the way, now
absolutely right.
that
I remember that incident now. Now that it's when you're drunk and somebody tells you something and you suddenly remember it.
Yeah.
But I can certainly remember that the starting lineup, which was heavily influenced by our injuries at the time.
No, it wasn't. Gordon was there and Almiron was there, and he chose not to. I know because at the time it was a big criticism that it wasn't going to go well, and it didn't. So Aman Hussein says, I'm not how out. I also appreciate a man who smokes cigarettes indoors. There you go. That's the mighty win. Kieran, Bruno is captain who leads through actions. who currently need we currently need a captain who can lead by both actions and words. Um, we're gonna get into Bruno more in depth in Bruno because I want to know Jefferson's take on Bruno this season. Steve McGarry says, "What actions does Bruno do? He's shite." Well, there we go. Cam, if the manager becomes the talk of the supporters, that means he's gone. It's a matter of time, folks. It's a matter of time.
Woo!
Wacky the Yangla says you need a Roy Keane type captain who holds players to account and is
That's Joe
authoritative.
Linton, innit?
That could be. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Somebody that if he doesn't play good, he's still gonna bring you something extra. You know what I mean?
Tell me, boys, would you want to piss off Joe Linton? I'd run I'd run a mile, mate. If that
Exactly.
guy was telling me off, I'd shit myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Roger Cook. I have whinged about the 4-3-3 win. Yeah. Tenji Vivid, Burn and Longstaff getting carried by the rest of the team. Tony T. Maybe that's the problem. Howe listens to too many people's advice. A donkey is a horse designed. It's a horse designed by committee. There you go.
Wow.
Wow, that is a tough one right there. Tiger.
It was a camel when I heard that one.
Yeah. What would be the design? The dromedary? A dromedary? Tiger Studios. Forgot to say something I won. I won the league with Newcastle on FIFA, and the second season I signed Jude Bellingham, and I got sacked before the season started. So if I can get sacked, so can Hal. There you go. There you go. Beer Viking, it's December. We should
That's the
change.
trouble. There's far too many people these days play bloody FIFA and think real life is like FIFA.
Yeah. Beer Viking, it's December. We should change to the Christmas tree formation with Isak as the top angel on top of the tree. As the
I
angel on
used to
top of
work on Championship Manager. Any of you football manager, Championship Manager buffs?
the. Yeah.
Christmas tree formation was the one.
Stephen Harker, good podcast win in the upfront one with Jordan. Yeah. I don't listen to podcasts at all. Chris Radam says he needs to mix it up. Leicester is perfect for that test. Bring Miley in, drop Big Joe and Shar. Let me see more comments. Connor has a question for us. If Eddie got sacked, which club could you see him at? He wouldn't get a top club job, in my opinion. Does it, man? That's the truth.
I
Bro.
tell you,
What top club do you see him in?
I tell you what top club I see him at. Spurs. If they sack Ange.
I can tell you, I'm gonna tell you something. Spurs fans would have a meltdown for ages if they get Eddie Howe. The only reason why he would go there if Amanda Stavely takes over at Tottenham, they have the relationship. Other than that, come on, be real, Mighty Win. Look, for once, man, literally, man. Stop doing this for the cameras. Be real to yourself, man. You know
man.
that no. You be real. You know damn well Eddie's not getting the top
you
club
live in the
job.
little Missouri world.
Not at all. Not at all. Not. But everybody else agrees with me. Jefferson, the chat. So you tell me if I'm wrong, because you're the only. If a million flies land on one shite, that means it's shite, baby.
A million flies can't be wrong.
Exactly. So what top team is getting Eddie Howe right now? Come on, Jefferson. What do you think?
He's built for a Fulham or a Wolves. He's not a top team manager, I'm afraid. If he's lucky, but I don't think so. I would say he might be able to sneak a Brighton, but Brighton aren't stupid. Just look at who they appointed with that German guy. You know they want a technical coach. So, yeah, Fulham or Wolves, I think.
Who's sitting fifth in the league, by the way, and he'd won nothing.
But they're playing a great brand of football.
Fantastic brand of football with a coach who's won nothing.
Win, are you telling me you're honestly happy with what we said? I think we played better football under Alan Pardew. You can't be happy with what you see.
Played better football, well, marginally better football under Pardew than we have in the past 18 months. But the last 22-23 is the best season I've ever enjoyed in 60 years watching the Toon.
Even more than Sir Bobby when we finished third.
Oh, comfortably more than Sir Bobby. Maybe the entertainers took a bit of beating, but no, 22-23 was my most joyous season ever.
Wow. But maybe as well, remember, Win, that's the thing about Eddie. I think there's a lot of emotional ties because it went in line with the takeover. We had
Yeah.
so much anguish with Ashley. Eddie essentially came in as our savior. He almost
There you go.
lifted us up, and I think we
Amanda
carry it.
Manda, by the way.
I
And
agree with
Mandy,
that.
of course. I actually sang a little song to Mandy.
And if you know,
Um,
things have gone
yeah,
rapidly downhill
they have.
since Amanda went.
Yeah. James Purge
Big
has a
time.
question. Chris, what makes you think a top manager wants to come here? There are 20 clubs that offer Europe as top sides. We need a fresh upcoming manager like Terzic. So Terzic would be, but see the thing, but Terzic is an upgrade on Eddie Howe. He's an upgrade. When Eddie Howe
In
came
your
here,
opinion,
when Eddie Howe came here, he won nothing. He was never competitive on nothing. He was just an up and coming manager that needed an opportunity. So he came in, bang. Terzic won an important title in Europe. He won an important, and he fought for the Bundesliga, by the way. And then
Champions
he
League
got his
finalist as well.
Champions League final, exactly. So if that is although because his career is short, it could still be a gamble. But he has proven himself to get the job done, and that's what we want to be. We want to be in Europe. We want to be fighting for these big competitions. So I would give him an opportunity. Certainly, I would, because he's proven to be better. He's already had a better career than Eddie Howe, and that's a fact, man. That's not on sentimentality. That's not oh my God, we went to the final, the Carabao Cup final, and that's lovely. He's a good guy. He's a lovely guy. All of that. I don't care if he's a good guy, man. I want a good manager.
Mm.
Simple as that.
By the way,
Simple as that.
he was
there you go.
Slaven. He was
The dream ticket. Dan Burn, player manager with Murphy number 2. Can be a lad.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Murphy's team talk. I
Yeah.
was going to say Terzic was actually, I believe,
He's
Slaven
saying,
Bilic's
go out there and
assistant
give a good
manager.
show, lads.
You waving them on, bye bye. Make sure you wave out there.
Go on, Jefferson. Sorry.
But I was just saying that Terzic has insight of the Premier League because he was, I believe, Slaven Bilic's number 2 when he was at West Ham. So it's not like our league is alien to him. Obviously, he's not managed in the league, but he's been an assistant manager in the Premier League.
Right.
So he knows about our physical style.
Yeah. Yeah.
All these elite managers that you want to come in, Chris, right? When they go to a club, they're going by and large, in fact, 99% of the time, they're going to quality clubs with quality squads of players with money to spend to
Wait.
do whatever they want.
But I thought you said we've had the best bench you've seen in your 100 years of living, and we got
Yeah,
the
we
best
did.
squad. And so
We
what are you
did.
talking about then? Any manager? So according to you, any manager should come here, look at the player, look at the beautiful faces, Murphy, Longstaff, and Byrne, and say, "Oh my God, I've hit the jackpot." Right?
Which is why. Well, no, because Longstaff and Byrne were on the bench when I said we had the best bench.
So you think we had the best bench
But
because
but then
Longstaff is in there?
but we also had Wilson,
Fuck me,
Gordon.
man. That's crazy. That is crazy, boy. Chelsea's bench looking at you like what?
Well, exactly, and then we
then
get the
then
FFP and PSO.
yeah,
and
that's fine. So
and
what do we do? Do we stop the club? Do
backing
we
on the
close down?
pitch.
Do we close down? Do we liquidate? Because what are we going to do? We got to still strive for the best, I would assume. So
And I think
what is your
we're still
solution, man?
striving for the best.
You think right now we're striving for the best?
Yeah, we're not achieving it,
No,
but we're
we're
striving.
settling.
Well,
We're
okay, so
settling.
man, that's crazy, man.
Where's the winner's mentality? I think
Exactly. You
the
have none.
club has clearly lost its momentum because we were on the up, and you have to take advantage of that. Man City did it with Mark Hughes. There comes a time you have to say goodbye and keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dennis Rodman here says Bournemouth took the risk with Areola, just like Newcastle took the risk with Isaac and Guimaraes before their stock inflated. There you go. Brent, I'd rather find a young up and coming coach. No Jose, no Carlo. Doesn't have to be a top tier manager. Says Brent. Beer bike static formations are old hat.
Would that
All
be somebody
formations are.
agreeing with me by any chance?
Yeah, that's one person right there who usually disagrees with you, which is crazy. But there you go. Beer bike and static formations are old hat. All formations are fluid. and different based on tactical instructions and roles, says B. Riken. Let me go. Niall, more people. Even the Ten Hag wins the important games in cups. Eddie is forever getting out coached. Well,
That is a
we, we,
brilliant
we
comment.
we always get into into the coach because it seems like that's the common denominator, isn't it? I mean, we talk about Tonali not playing obviously because of
That
Eddie.
is, I will wholeheartedly agree that it's all about club mentality. And because we haven't won anything for 60 years, we haven't got that mentality. When it comes to must-win games, we're incapable of winning them.
Yeah, but a lot of those as well, we haven't been prepared. I think with the Milan
But
game, we put
hang on,
the
this is with
Milan.
Bobby Robson as well. This is,
Yeah, that's
this
fine.
is
Yeah,
good through
but
all, through Ruud Gullit,
yeah, that's
through
fine.
Souness, who've won everything.
That's Rick Holy ain't won a damn thing, man. As a manager, he didn't win a damn thing. That was a mistake. So as a player, it has nothing to do with a manager. Nothing to do with it. My teacher how to be.
Any
Uh,
Dalglish
what rubbish? What? What?
with 2 premierships he won
Well, that gamble would have been,
with
but
2 different clubs.
yeah, but he was still rubbish for us, wasn't he?
He was absolutely rubbish
Exactly.
for us.
So what are you talking about?
Which is the point I'm making, that getting an elite manager in doesn't necessarily
Douglas isn't an
guarantee.
elite manager, man. What's wrong with you? Douglas wasn't no elite manager. The Premier League was an infant league at the time. What are you talking about, man? No. Carlo Ancelotti is an elite manager.
But hang on, before the Premier League, there was the First Division, which was equally
Right.
as competitive as what the Premier League
No,
is.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Of course it was, man. It was
It
more
was
competitive.
Syria killing
Serie A,
everybody else.
Serie
Oh,
A.
killing. You had to rebrand your league to a point where you erased all the stats before everything was erased. They said, "Man, this is rubbish. Let's throw it all in the trash and burn it." Which is unfortunate, by the way, because I wish they would have kept the stats because that did.
They keep the stats. Don't worry about that.
No,
And remember, Dalglish had the most money to spend because Jack Walker, he bought, what was it, Chris Sutton, he bought Shearer from Southampton,
Absolutely.
Ripley, Sherwood. He had the most money.
He bought the league, the same as Abramovich bought the league, the same as Qatar bought the same
exactly.
as Emirates bought the league.
Yeah, but that's fine though. But see, no, hold on, because we're gonna get into but we're gonna get into a situation where PSR and all that stuff. That's perfect. Yeah, we have that issue. However, let's look at game by game and what's happening right now on the pitch. Nothing to do because if you say the 2022-23 season was amazing, all those players are right now are available. So
Correct.
what's happening?
So how many this is a broken record. So what he did then was he went out to improve that squad to
That's
attack the next
perfect.
league.
But those players are available now. Why are we not playing the same? Why are we not even playing?
He got banned for a year.
Why are we not playing nowhere near the same as we did in 22-23? We got the same players and improved signings. So now
because then we had all the injuries.
Yeah, but what about this
season? This season, as I said at the start of the season,
so
we have got the squad that should be competing.
Stop talking about the past, man. Stop talking about the past.
I'm not talking about the past.
Because you keep saying we always losers as teams, right? Perfect. That's our history. Nothing to do with now. Based on your knowledge, we lost, or your logic, we lost against Milan because it was a must-win game and we just lose games. No, there was a particular instances in the game where we could have won that game. Almiron, if he would have shot with his right foot, we would have won the game and would have stayed in Europa League. We would have stayed in Europa League. And also, exactly. And a lot of games last season. And by the way, also in that game of Milan, Eddie Howe kept going up front, gun hole, and not even think of managing the game tactically because we already had the result.
And the week before, he'd been slaughtered for not defending the lead against Chelsea.
Exactly.
Because he couldn't get it over the line. Win.
No. It's the same thing. He should have defended. When we got eliminated with Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, we kept going forward. That was the counterattack that
If we
Costa
if we get the
and
draw,
Trippier made a mistake.
hang on. If we get the draw against Milan, we're in the Europa Cup. If we get the win, we're in the Champions League.
Milan, no, but we had the result
So
before
you
all
went
that.
for the win.
We had the result before that. We were winning the game.
We had the result to be third.
You're lying. We were winning the game.
Yeah, I know we were winning the game.
Based on that, you got the goal. Take care of the result. No, he kept going forward. Milan scored on us on 2 counterattacks.
Chelsea.
2 counterattacks
on the
and
goal.
they killed. I rubbish Milan, to be fair. Killed us on 2 counterattacks. The last one by Leao, I think. 2 counterattacks.
Is it Chukwueze? Chukwueze?
Somewhere around like that.
The guy they signed from Villarreal, I can't remember his name.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, when we had the 1-0 lead, are you arguing that when we had the 1-0 lead, we should have just sat back on it for 70 minutes?
Not set back 11 players hanging from the goal, but be more tactical about it. Not keep going forward as if you're losing 3-0, because that's what was happening. Now, I'll give you, if Almiron scores, we win. Perfect. But we were attacking as if we were losing, because he was true to what he said in the press conference a week ago. I will not refuse to attack, he said. I don't see myself in a team that doesn't attack. That's what he said last week in the presser before Brentford. Well, that turned out to be a mistake, Wayne. That turned out to be a mistake. Managers know. Even Pep Guardiola, who is the king of proactive football, has said before, you got to manage games. You've got to. And we didn't do that. So last season, although we had injuries, and that was one of the main reasons why we didn't have players available, obviously, there were games where we could have managed the games better, and we didn't. And that goes down to Eddie and the players. But last season, he was excused the whole season because of injuries. Well, now what's happened? This season, we've having the same issues. We've been found out, and there's no change whatsoever. So that's where we're sitting at, Mighty Win.
Well, listen, I've said I'm not happy with his in-game management. He's 3 things which I said again. I'm not going to say I told you so. I said this at the start of the season. The 3 things that he needed to improve on, despite having given him the bye for all of the injuries and so on and so forth. The previous season, I said the 3 things he's got to improve on are team selection, in-game management, and substitutions. And he's shown me this season that he hasn't learned on any of them. But having said that, his overall team setup results in chances created every single game, and consistently again for 12 months, we haven't finished our dinner. And that's been a major failing for Newcastle. Not the defence.
That is
not finishing
rubbish, man.
If you look at it mentality-wise, he cannot get it over the line. If you look at when he came, first big win, Leeds away, massive win. Huge win was Leicester at home, diving header, Bruno. Arsenal at home, I think was that the second to last final day, right? Going into the next season, again, big wins was the win against Leicester in the cup. But what starts to happen is there comes key points where he cannot get it over the line. And we look at results like we touched on both Chelsea games, losing 3-2 to one of the worst Chelsea sides they've ever had and getting knocked out of the cup. Man United, losing to Man United away, one of the worst Man United teams we've ever seen. We go back to the League Cup final, playing again against one of the worst Man United teams. He couldn't get it over the line. AC Milan, as we mentioned, all we had to do was hang on for the draw. He couldn't get it over the line. Now it's got to the point where results are just declining. We are in free fall. He's only won 33% of his games. We've won 2 in the last 11. And before, I think, was it the Liverpool game, or I can't remember the one before, was it the Crystal Palace game? we had scored, what was it? We'd had 0 shots in 180 minutes. 0 shots on target in
Yeah, yeah.
180 minutes, and then I think we went 700 minutes without a goal from open play. So the stats are against him. The key moments are against him. The player demeanor is against him. And when he came in, the fan base was unified. Now they're divided. So if you were to have a balance, it's on the lob side of Eddie out because of
Right.
all those
And
things. It's time for us to move on.
every single stat
Well-
you've quoted there, Jefferson, is absolutely true. Is absolutely true.
But if I say I'm wrong,
But they can all change in the next 4 games.
no, it can't. No, it doesn't.
What makes you think he's going to turn it around, win? That's what I would love to hear. Because I don't see it.
Yeah,
I
because
don't see it, man.
exactly, you keep on living on hopes and dreams.
I am normally a very logical person.
Well, so what are you saying? We're not.
I'm not saying anything about either of you. What I'm saying is I am normally a very logical person. And as you rightly say, Jefferson, I am currently emotionally attached to Eddie Howe for giving me
It's crazy.
season 22-23. And as a consequence, I'm wanting to give him every last inch of rope for to hang himself. But if he does get that extra inch of rope and fails miserably and hangs himself with the results that come, I'll happily pull the trapdoor lever. The time, just for me, hasn't arrived just yet. I'm that far away from being there, but I'm just not there yet.
I tell you what, I'm scared of. I really am scared of the who's coming next. Even if all managers were free, I still am scared because I don't know what PIF has in mind. I don't know what Paul Mitchell has in mind. I don't know, and I'm scared. I'm scared of that they might want to go with another takeover manager, and because Eddie Howe is just that. It's a takeover manager. In his career in football, he's only been linked to England because he's English, and he's the only one that has somewhat decently gotten to Champions League, deservedly so. Let me see. Niall wants his question answered. Let me see. Well, what is your question, mate? Let me ask it again. Ask it again if you don't mind, Niall. Got a question here though from Tony T. What 3 players do you put the blame on this season? Yeah, so that'll be interesting. What players do we put the blame on for this season? Because the players do need to get some heat as well.
Yeah, well, GS7 has had about, if you're being generous, well, he's had 3 good games and arguably 4 reasonable games. Bruno has been, you're saying bad games. They're not bad games,
They're
but
bad
by
games.
his standards,
Man,
you can
I don't
argue
get
that they're bad games.
last against Brentford. Man, he was absent. How can you say that wasn't a bad game? That was anybody. If Longstaff would have had that game, I would agree. He would have gotten killed on the spot.
Just have a
I
look.
think Gordon's been shocking for me.
And Gordon was going to be
Gordon's been
the
shocking.
third one.
He had 24 goal contributions last season, I believe. He's now arguably our biggest earner. And I get it. I had sympathy for him for the first 2-3 games because I understand, Gareth did him dirty in the Euros. We've seen Adam Wharton in Crystal Palace as well. His form dropped off a cliff because he was treated badly as well. But there comes a time you have to be mature. You've come home to Newcastle, right?
Exactly.
Show us your mettle. You've come home. So
Yeah,
his
you got to get over
mentality
it.
for me has been, get over it.
You're gonna have to
We need the goals.
exactly. So Niall is asking for a win. If we lose against Brentford in the cup, are you Eddie out? If not, why?
Well, put it this way: if we won the 3 league games and lost against Brentford, I wouldn't be Eddie out. But if we lost all 3 and win against Brentford, and the board decide that that's a good enough reason to keep him on because we're still in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. I've been down, I've smoked that tobacco before with Dalglish being kept on because we got to the FA Cup final, with Hull being kept on because we got to the cup final when they were absolutely dog shit. So I don't think a place in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup is reason enough to hang on to Eddie. But if we get beaten in the cup and win the 3 league games, so we're back up into top 6, top 5, then absolutely hang on to him.
I think the cup is our only hope to get anything. So I think it's very important. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to be Champions League material. We're not.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with you. Chris, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm sorry, mate. And I've said this on 90s Mags as well, and I know the boys there disagree with me. If it was the FA Cup, that's another story. For me, I don't rate the Carabao Cup because if you win it, you only get into the Conference League. And at the end of the day, our bread and butter is being top 6. I'd rather a place in the Europa League than a 3rd-tier trophy. You saw Ten Hag win it. It didn't do nothing for him. However, the FA Cup is another story. That has got so much prestigious history. It's a massive trophy. But that Carabao Cup is a pony trophy, man. I would not want to sacrifice our season just to win that bloody trophy.
But look, man, I don't see any
Europe, and more importantly,
it
gets the monkey off our back. Listen, how many managers whose first trophy has been the Carabao? In fact, Pep's first trophy was the Carabao.
Jose too. Yeah. True. Good point.
That Carabao Cup counts for a lot, man. It gets players into a winning mentality.
Because then D-Man said, we need a trophy, man. We need a trophy, D-Man.
I knew D-Man would be on that one.
Come on, man. D-Man, we need a trophy, man. And by the way, it's not, stop calling, well, it is the Carabao Cup, but that's just a sponsor, man. EFL Cup. That gives it the English name, the EFL Cup, the proper EFL Cup, which is old as well. It's not as prestigious as the FA Cup, I agree. I would rather have the FA Cup if I could.
The EFL Cup.
I cried. See that game Win
the
was
Worthington Cup.
I was 12.
The Rumbelows Cup. The Milk Cup.
Win. You know that game you were talking about, particularly the Arsenal game, the Man United game. I didn't expect us to win. You know the Arsenal game. I was only 12 at the time, and I remember crying when we lost that game. I remember Shearer hitting the post, and for some reason, I really thought we were going to win that final. So I would love us to avenge that.
Both.
I'd love to see us win the FA Cup in my lifetime.
Last but not least, the poll from yesterday. What's wrong with Newcastle? A lot of people have voted. 355 people have voted on that one. Eddie Howe is the problem. He must go with 22% of that. But the least voted is the fans' expectations are too high, which 13 people voted for that. 13%. And then with 22%, Eddie Howe, he must go. So he is third amongst the fans. Second would go to player are playing rubbish with 26%. And first is the main reason as to why fans think we're having this rubbish season is the board because of lack of signings. 39% voted for that. And I'm sure it has something to do with it, to be fair. It has a lot to do with it.
Of course it's got something to do with it.
Yeah, but...
whose fault is it? Whose fault is it, though? We know whose fault that is. Yeah? We know whose fault that is.
So it's PS up there. And PSO, FFP, call it what you
This is why they should have sacked Eddie at the end of the previous season. Because if you're going to change the structure of the club and modernize it in line with, top European clubs and all that, bring in your own person who can operate under the director of football model. Do you see what I'm saying? You've set yourselves up for failure because, in a way, poor Eddie was used to having his nephew in recruitment and having what's her name, Amanda, and Merdad being like, yeah, I'll buy you anyone you want. That's not a good setup. That's not a good recruitment setup.
It worked for us, kid.
No, but we didn't win anything, bro.
The brakes have come on. Win. The car's run out of petrol, my guy. We're stalling.
We've got in the Champions League for the first time in 20 years, and we've got to a cup final.
Yeah, but that's not a trophy. Win. No, win. That's not a trophy. That's not a trophy. You need to set your standards the proper way, man. That's not a trophy. We came back.
No,
We
because
came
I'm
back.
not an
Newcastle United.
entitled Arsenal fan,
Newcastle United.
Liverpool
No,
fan.
no, hold on. Newcastle
I'm
United.
not
I'm not
used
asking
to
you to
winning
win.
anything.
I'm not asking you to win. Newcastle United are a
You
big
just
club.
asked
No,
us.
no, 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 no. You're celebrating. You're parading over qualifying for Champions League after 20 years.
I'm
And
right, I am.
if you live another 20 years, that's another parade for you. And that can't be. Newcastle fans, what the takeover did, what Amanda did, and what somewhat Eddie Howe did, is bring us to a normal state of being,
Exactly.
to a
The
proper
raised
club.
expectation
Normal, no,
level.
normal. Not
No.
great, not bad. Normal.
No,
What Mike Ashley did,
you
we were
want us
below.
to
We were
jump straight
below.
into the
I
elite
didn't
category.
say that. I didn't say that. I'm not asking to win. I'm not asking to win. I'm asking to Eddie Howe to do what his famous saying is. I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to compete. We're not competing on a damn thing.
Well, we're not doing so well this season.
No, wait a second. Then you give in. Then you go. You just. It's okay, man. You just got a fanatism. You're a fan. You're a fanatic of Eddie Howe. That's fine. No worries, man. I hope he does give you a little. I hope he's paying you on the side, and paying you well. But it is what it is. I made my point clear.
We're 2 wins off 5th place.
And how many points of relegation?
Champions League.
How many points of relegation are we from?
7, isn't it?
So what are you talking about, man?
I think we're 7 off in between each.
Exactly. We're just
11.
Is it 11?
My goodness gracious. Because you're counting the last team instead of counting the third bottom. Yeah, I get you, man. I know your tricks. I know your tricks, Mighty Wayne. I know your tricks very well, Mighty Wayne. I know your tricks very well.
Ipswich Town, third bottom on 9 points.
Anyways, look,
we've got 20.
But Jefferson, you see what we're doing here, man. You know what we're cooking with. Because this guy is
clever.
tricky, man.
He's clever. I like it. I like
which is the same as Tottenham in 11th, by the way.
Anyways, listen, man. It's been lovely. It's been great. We had a nice show. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe to 90s Mags on YouTube. 90s Mags, great show. Jefferson, D-Mon, and what's your other partner's name? AC. Which we got to get him on. We gotta have to get him on the show as well. But no, man, Jefferson, you did great, man. You did great bringing up your points but it's easy. But we're gonna have to put you with somebody else though because it's easy to beat this guy, man. It's easy to beat this guy, man.
Let him bring the heat, man. Let him come. Let him come.
The mighty win is easy, man.
My only equal at the moment is D-Man, and me and D-Man go at it.
Listen. We'll have you back. We'll have you back on in the new year after we've won
we're gonna get him
the
before
quarter final and won the 3 games and beaten Man U at Old Trafford to boot. There you go. We'll have you back on after then and see what you've got.
All of those
to say
empty phrases, empty promises. He said we're going to be second in the league. Look at us now. Empty promises. We're going to get you, definitely going to get you on before New Year's Eve, trust me. Jefferson is here to stay, man. 90s Max on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel as well. We got a lot of stuff coming for you. Tomorrow is 2 p.m. show with Mighty Wayne and Gary about what's coming next for Newcastle United. Well, who do we need to beat? Who can we afford to lose points against? If there is a team that we can afford.
When you will
points.
get to see the Bournemouth video.
So we're gonna play against a lot of accessible teams. Can we beat them? Well, we've proven that we can't. So we shall see if even on paper we can. We got Leicester coming up. We got Brentford again. We got, I believe, Bournemouth? No. Ipswich. Oh my God! If we lose against Ipswich,
Villa.
It's a
it
wrap.
is over.
Final nail in the coffin.
It is over.
It could well be, Jefferson. It could well be.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to hit the nail.
Exactly.
Hey.
Anyways, folks, thank you so much for supporting. We will see you in the next one.
Pet.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.